So, I remember a story about an American man who lived in a black community. And in this black community, he discovered that quite a number of people there, the young folks there, were into drugs, were into alcohol. They were, really doing life as it were. And yeah, there was a lot of violence, gang wars in that area or in that environment. Each time he tried to move, he discovered that he wasn't getting the permission from the Lord to move. The moral thing to do is to raise your family elsewhere so that your children don't grow up to want to be like these people. However, the Lord wasn't permitting him to move. So what did he do next? He started like a community service. Every weekend, he tries to clean the environment, gets one or two friends and family, they clean the environment, gather the bottles, from the drinks the people there have been having, gather it to one end, clean up the whole environment. One day he saw, a heap load, like a waste bin, a waste area. He saw that. And so he decided to clear. And while he started clearing it, he discovered that the more he was clearing the land, the more he found bottles, he found napkins, he found different things there. It was like a dunghill, and he cleaned to the point where he could then plant. The next thing he did was he planted some flowers there, and it grew to become beautiful. It grew to become beautiful. And from there, the Lord started teaching him certain lessons, which I'm going to share a little on today's podcast. Once again, you're welcome to Podcasts with PV or PV Musings. And I want to believe that you've been living the life of Hannah based on our last sharing. Today, I'll be sharing on mindsets. From the story I shared, which is a true life story, true life events, one of the major things that God was communicating with this guy or this man was the fact that, even from wrong environments, even from a place where there's discouragement, there's hopelessness, from it, hope can arise. From it, indeed, faith can be stirred up in the heart of people. From it, something beautiful can come out. If you look at the top, you most likely will misjudge what exactly is embedded in that thing. If the man had judged the environment, saying that nothing would grow here, he would have built a mindset which, from the outlook, he's very right. However, based on diligence and persevering, you will discover that indeed water can come from a desert. So you see how that from those people or from people that we can give up on, something beautiful can emerge. Something beautiful can emerge. One of the reasons why the whole of America was jubilant was because when Barack Obama, the then president of America, came into power, he simply represented the oppressed people, the minority of the average black person. He gave hope to the average black person that he can become the best in their field. If there was a mindset that there was a glass ceiling above people, it changed with his emergence. And that is exactly what a mindset can do. A mindset can fix your heart to see things in one way. And however, situations can happen and they will shift your mind such that you can see things differently. There could be a way you are viewing things based on the experiences and the exposures you are having. And don't get me wrong, those experiences are very good and very valid. Okay, very valid for you to have a shaped or waxed mindset. However, it will distort you from getting the best in life. The best in life is never approached or gotten by seeing negativity. You remember that story of two people who were brought together. Water was poured into a cup, not to the brim, just like half of it. They called the first person. He said, "What do you think about the water in the cup?" He said, "It is half full." The other person said, "It is half empty." Now, one is an optimist, one is a pessimist. Okay, one sees negativity, the other one sees opportunity. And that is how life is. We always have constantly people who see opportunities and some other people who see negativity. I remember one of those heroic stories in scripture of the man called, Moses. He had sent spies, to spy out Jericho. And these guys went, they said, "Oh yes, this land is the same land that God has given to us. But the people that we are seeing in that land, we look like ants before them." You must have read that story before. And he then sent Caleb and Joshua. They went, they spied the land, and they said, "Truly, the people look great. They look like an army, but we are able." So having a changed mindset helps you see that irrespective of the opposition that you're faced with, you can still walk, you can still soar. "Oh yes, I've got a broken hand. How is it possible for me to pick up things?" Yes. A positive mindset helps you see solution, while a negative mindset helps you see problem every time. Now, in the face of no problem, once you have a negative mindset, you will always find a problem. You will always find a problem. Okay, mindsets can be responsible for the progress made by people, can also be responsible for the failures that is being embraced by people. So I'm going to ask you to review the mindset that you have developed over time. Okay, and the mindset that you've developed over time, is it advancing you or is it limiting you? What are you holding on to? Now, mindset can be cultural, it can be political, it can be religious. But whatever mindset you are holding on to that is not making your life better, that is not advancing you, that is not improving the quality of life that you have with other people, is a wrong mindset. Okay? Whatever you have embraced that has limited your potentials is not good. I remember a story that happened to me a couple of years ago. We had a guy who had visited from the US. His name is Israel. Okay, his name is Israel. Amazing guy. At the time, I didn't used to grow my hair because once my hair grows to a certain point, I believe that I used to have headache. And so he came from the US with his hair grown, and so we were talking. And so he asked me, he said, he was learning how to speak Pidgin. I mean, this was in my teenage age at the time, so he was trying to adapt to Nigerian system because his parents had sent him to come, stay in Africa, see how Africans are growing in Nigeria, specifically, and so he came around, mixed with us. He was in church, and so he was learning Pidgin. And so he went on to say, "My guy, why your hair be like this now?" He had this kind of Jamaican, if he speaks English, he looks clearly like an American, but then he was trying to sound Pidgin and he was sounding funny, And so I said to him that the reason why my hair was like that was because I can't grow it past this level. So the next thing, he was surprised, taken aback. He said to himself, and I heard what he said. He said, "Why would that be the case?" So I said to him, each time I grow my hair to this point, I started having migraine. He said to me, it's your mindset. I said, it's not possible. I've tried over and over, and I always stopped by migraine. So he painted a scenario for me, and he said to me, what happens when you're found in a desert where there are no barbers, where there's no one to shave you, there's nothing to use for yourself to shave yourself? What happens? He says to me, he says, the headache will come, it will go, and your life will continue. Wow. That was all the deliverance I needed. So I can understand from that, that I had limited my potentials based on the mindset, based on the feeling. Now, was the feeling wrong? No, the feeling was right. What was my interpretation? Okay, right about the feeling? It was a little right, but not thoroughly right. Now, when you persevere a little beyond what your mindset is saying, when you press on beyond what your mindset is setting as a boundary, you will discover that you are launching into new possibilities. Now, there are always new possibilities at the end of your own mindset, or at the end of a peg that the mindset that you have currently have created for you. For instance, I've heard people say that the best I can do is to tell stories. Some other people tell you that the best I can do is to solve mathematics. Some people tell you the best I can do is to act as a nurse. You will discover that when you stretch yourself beyond that point, you would come into a new threshold. Okay, everyone has possibilities embedded in them if they will just embrace the fact that there is more to them. Okay, mindset has limited us. Mindset has limited the expressions of people, has limited how much they can do, how much they can achieve. So when you want to classify people, those who can do this, come here, those who can do this. So they quickly say that is not my strength. That is a weakness that I have. Years ago, I used to play the drums, for instance, too. And, one of the hardest beats for me was, salsa. I didn't like salsa. I mean, but I didn't like it. It sounds cool to me. I didn't like it. It was a struggle. If I was playing salsa on a song, I can never roll. And when I can't freestyle. I can't do anything. I have to stay there monotonously, and I'm all jittery, and I'm trusting that please don't change the song, or please change the song, do a more convenient song for me, and so it's always like a war, So what happened? I always believed that I couldn't do that, and then we got a new music director that year, and he came to church and he was in the rehearsals, and the next he said, who's the drummer? I said, I'm the drummer. And he said to me, do you know David Weckhall? I was like, David Weckhall, I think I've heard about him. He started mentioning drummers, Calvin Rogers, he plays for Marvin Sapp. He said, yes. Have you listened to him? So he gave me some songs. He said, go and score them. And I was faced with, I said to myself, I cannot do salsa. He said, you can even do separation. Such that your right hand is playing something different, your left hand is playing something different, your two legs, one on the hi-hat's playing something different, the one on the bass drum is playing something different. I said, no, my mind said, no, you can't do it. How can your two hands be playing something different from what your two legs are playing? How is that possible? Now, my mindset had limited me, but he was not after what my mindset was saying. He was after results. Everyone who decides to go beyond the dictates of their mindset are the people who always come into results. There is results at the end and beyond the peg that your mindset has created for you. If you will go beyond that, you will discover that it is up for the highest bidder. Certain jobs and certain qualifications or job descriptions, certain people would never apply for. And it's not because, they said do not apply. It's simply because they do not think that they've got the qualities to apply for it. It's still a mindset. Now, I want to ask a question. Someone says, for instance, I'm not good at project management. I'm not good at this. And the next thing I'm asking a question, have you started an event before? Have you organized an event? I mean, you planned the event from start to finish. Maybe a Christian worship meeting, maybe a poetry meeting, maybe, an office meeting. I mean, you planned it. You planned the speakers, you planned the logistics, you planned the organization, you planned everything, and you executed it and got results. And the person goes, yeah, I've done that before. I said, that is what project management is about. All you need to do is to now have the knowledge of what you did. I mean, breaking it down into the processes, implementation, budgeting, and team handling, and all the likes. Then you understand that you just did a project, you just handled a project. Now, we can build things around that such that you can run internship, or you can apply, having known the concept in this thing. You did it without the concept. So it's a mindset telling you that you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Meanwhile, these are things that has become part and parcel of your life. What am I saying? I'm saying change your mindset and you will change your life. Once you do not change your mindset, you are placing a peg upon the expression of God in your life. There is so much deposit of God in your life, and you cannot afford to allow a mindset limit how much God can do through you. There are other people who will be affected by your progress or by your decrease. So choose to progress. And as you progress, you are lifting and breaking every limiting glass that is placed above you, and others would indeed have hope resurrecting their heart, knowing fully well that there's possibility in God and there's possibility in themselves to achieve way and beyond whatever they could ever ask or imagine. So I'm saying to you today, change that mindset. Go for that thing. You are able to take the mountain. It belongs to the highest bidder, and in this case, the bid begins with a mindset. Thank you for joining. I hope you're refreshed. Join me next week as I continue on shaping your mindset or creating the right mindset for productivity. God bless you.